Retire young, retire rich. Robert Kiyosaki. How to get rich quickly and stay rich forever. Chapter 2. Why retire as young as you can. After nearly 10 years of hard work and struggle, I had become financially free at the age of 47. That year in 1994, a friend called and said, "Be sure to take up at least a year off after business is sold." A year off? I replied, "I am going to retire and take the rest of my life off." "No, you won't," said my friend Neil. Neil had been a member of a team and started and built several major businesses, two of them being MTV and CMT, Country Music Television. Back in the early 1980s, after having built and sold some of those businesses, he retired at age 41. He had become French, and he was now passing on his lesson from retirement to me. "In less than 3 months, you will be bored and you will start another company," he said. "The hardest thing for you to do is to do nothing. That's why I recommend you set a goal to wait at least a year before even thinking about starting another business." I left and tried to reassure him I was retired for good. "I have no plan to starting another business," I said. "I'm retired. I'm not going back to work. The next time you will see me, you won't recognize me. I won't have a suit worn nor will I have short hair. I'm going to look like a beach bum." Neil heard my words and he was insistent. He wanted me to hear and understand what he was trying to tell me. It was important to him that I understand his message. After a very long conversation, he was beginning to get through to me. Finally, I heard him when he said, "Very few people have the opportunity you have. Not many people that financially able to stop working and do nothing. Not many people can truly retire in midlife. During your prime earning years, most people can't afford to stop working even if they want. Even if they hate their job, they can't stop working. So don't take this gift lightly. It's a gift few people will ever be presented with. So take it. Take a year to do nothing." Neil went on to explain that most entrepreneurs sell about business and start another business right away. He said, "I used to build a business, sell it, and start immediately building another one. I had built and sold 3 businesses by the time I was 35. I had a lot of money, but I could not stop working. I did not know what stop meaning. If I was not working, I felt useless and felt I was wasting time. So I would work harder. Hard work was robbing me of life and time with my family. Finally, I realized what I was doing and decided to do something different. After I sold my last business and put the check for millions in the bank, I decided I would take a year off. Taking that year for my family and me was one of the best decisions I have ever made. That time alone with myself, having nothing to do, was priceless. Do you realize that since we are 5 years old, you are in school studying, and once you are out of school, you are working? Very few people have the luxury of at least 1 year to sit and just think and be with yourself." He told me that as soon as his affairs at home were tied up, he and his family moved to a remote land in Fiji and sat on the beach. He said, "For months, I just sat on the beach, gazed at the crystal blue ocean, and watched my kids enjoy a life we all dreamed about." Once they had enough of Fiji, he moved his family to Italy and sat there for months doing nothing. It was a few years before I became a sane human being again. he said. I had no idea how hard it was to stop waking up and drinking, thinking I had something to do, a meeting to attend, a plane to catch, to make enough money to pay the bill. It took a full year for me to slow down and let the adrenaline leave my body. It took a full year of relaxing to slow down enough so I could think straight and become whole again. I was now 41 years old. For 36 years I had been running to get some hair, and now I was there. The hardest thing I had to do. Neil was correct. The hardest thing was about being retired, was having nothing to do. After years of school, classroom, test, meeting, airplane, and deadline, I was truly conditioned to get up and rush off to do something. Just before retiring, I remembered hating the pressure and the worry to work. I remembered thinking, only 6 more months, I will be free. I can retire and do nothing. I can't wait till the business is sold and I can stop this madness. In September of 1994, the sale and the transfer of asset out of the business was complete. I put some money in the bank, invested in a few more apartment houses and air houses, and formally retired. I was 47 and my wife Kim was 37. We were financially free with the rest of our lives yet to live and enjoy, and just as Neil wanted. Within weeks after selling the business, I was restless. I continued to wake up early, only to realize that I had no plan for the day. I had no one to call and no one called me. I was alone in my house with nowhere to go. I was soon restless and irritable. I felt useless and unwanted. I felt my life was being wasted and I was unproductive. I wanted desperately to work on something, but there was nothing to do. Neil was correct in that for me, having nothing to do was the hardest thing for me to do. Kim had her business of investing and managing her real estate portfolio. She enjoyed it and went about at her own pace. She would find me in the kitchen bumping around trying to do nothing. Are you looking for something to do? She would ask. No, I replied. I'm just looking for a way to do nothing. Well, let me know when you find nothing to do and we can do it together. Kim said in a grin. And why don't you call your friends and get together and do something? I did, I replied, but they all busy at work. They don't have any free time. After a few months trying to do nothing, Kim and I decided to vacation in Fiji, where Neil went for part of his year off. I was excited about just going somewhere, even if it was just doing nothing. Within 3 weeks of deciding to go to Fiji, we arrived by seaplane and were greeted by smiling Fijian with flower lace and tropical drinks. As Kim and I walked down the long pier that jutted out over the crystal blue water, I thought I had arrived to one fantastic island and was waiting to hear the short, chubby guy saying, "Boss, the plane, the plane." This island was more beautiful than Neil had described. I could not believe its beauty. Being raised in Hawaii, I could not help but say to myself, This is the way Hawaii used to be, and this is how Hawaii should be. Yet fabulous this secluded island was. It was too slow for me. I could not believe that paradise was making me crazy. I would get up, have a healthy breakfast, fruit, jog for a while, and then spend the day at the beach. After a while, I was stuck crazy. As beautiful as the beaches of this island, I was ready to get back to the States and start a new business. I did not know why I had promised Neil that I would take at least a year off. 2 weeks was all I could take the paradise. Kim could have stayed forever, but I could let it to get home to Arizona. Why I needed to get home, I don't know, but I left paradise and headed home. Sitting at home was not even better than sitting at the beach, but at least I had my car and familiar place to keep me distracted. A new neighbor came over to introduce himself one day. He too was retired, but he was about 20 years older than I was. He was 68 years old and had been a high-profile manager of a Fortune 500 company. Every day he would come over and talk about news, weather, and sports. He was a nice guy, but sitting around trying to do nothing with him was worse than the worst meeting I had ever been in. All he wanted to do was walk in his backyard and play golf. To him, retirement was poor heaven. He did not miss the corporate world at all and just loved his free time doing nothing. I realized I would wind up like him if I hung around him much longer. When he wanted me to join his men's card group at the country club, I realized that I had to find something else to do in order to do nothing. Finally, I could take no more. One day I said to Kim, I am moving to BCB. I need to go somewhere that I can be busy doing nothing. In a few days, I moved to the small ranch and Kim and I owned. It's a beautiful yet secluded piece of land, hidden in a valley covered with old oak trees, an intermittent stream with lots of deer and an occasional mountain lion nestled high in the mountains on the Mexico, New Mexico, Arizona border. I had finally found my place to take my year off, a place where I could be busy doing nothing. After a few days of just sitting in the mountains in my cabin without television or radio reception, I began to calm down and settle into my year off. My breathing slowed down and so did my face. Peace and tranquility became a part of everyday life rather than the pressure of meetings and deadlines. My year off had finally begun and it was, as Neil said, a gift few people will ever be presented with, so take it. It had taken me nearly 6 months to slow down enough to begin my year off.